Back to politics tonight, where we dig beyond the headlines. Tonight, we're discussing President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and ministerial expectations with a constitutional lawyer and political analyst, Abayomi. All right, Doctor, let's shift our focus to President Tinubu's ministerial list. What are your expectations?
Well, we can only judge him from past performances. We expect that he will pick the best and the brightest, using the words of John Kennedy. We expect that he will pick quite a number of youths that can lead us into the future. The world is changing very rapidly. We expect that it will be a mixture of the ancient wisdom, as I said, and modern intellect. We expect that he will choose innovators, those who dream big for a big nation like Nigeria. But we expect also that he will have a few politicians there so that they are not defeated and give him unnecessary problems. So we expect a good team that can work with him to make our nation great. That's what we expect.
So, Doctor, are you of the opinion that the president should have far more technocrats than career politicians in his cabinet?
You should have three types of people. Some politicians, because there are lots of political problems that cannot be solved by technicality or technical minds. They should have strong technical, innovative minds who would lead this nation to modernity and raise this nation out of the present state. We want to move with the world, and we have quite a number of proud Nigerians all over the world. You should have young people, men or women, who will create new understanding for the youth who have the future. So it should be an admixture, because one single thinking cannot resolve the complex issues of Nigeria, in my view. But I think it has sufficient freedom, having been a governor of a very complex state like Lagos.
So we have 5 more days to the constitutional deadline for the president to appoint ministers. What's your advice to him at this point?
My advice to him is that to think very, very deeply. And then he should write down his goals. What do I want to achieve as the head of this government? What does my government intend to achieve? And then decide, are these people capable, competent, able, strong enough in mind, in intellect, physically, for this great voyage? And then he should take them one by one. Look at their attributes, their capacity, their ability, their strength, and their weaknesses. And then decide each of them. Because the expectation of Nigeria is very strong and very serious. And the people of Nigeria want a different nation. That's what they expect from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And having gone through the crucible, my expectation and my prayer is that he will not fail. I believe he will not fail.
So many people predicted that the 2023 presidential election would be very close and competitive. What were the surprises that, in your view, the election threw up?
It wasn't close. The gap between the winner and the second is almost 2 million. The gap between the second place and the third place is almost 2 million. As you can't say that kind of election is close. No, it wasn't close.
Are you there with us, Doctor?
Yes, I'm
so
with
what were
you.
the surprises?
I'm saying the election.
Okay, what were the surprises that in your view?
The surprises, in my view, is the power of youth. And I'm happy over that, because now government cannot take the youth of Nigeria for granted. I mean, we have a situation where there was division virtually in every home. Some of my children were not following me. They were attacking me for taking a position in support of my party, attacking my party in my own house. That's the effervescence, the charge, the interest of the people of Nigeria. And you can see the number of voters that came out. And even the interest of Nigerians all over the world, their determination, desire, and pressure to vote everywhere. This is the stable surprise in that election. And I believe future elections will continue to follow this line.
So people say the election has made us far more divided as a people. Do you agree?
Every election creates division. America is still dealing with division from the last election. I mean, we are talking of it's 4 years now. Trump has gone to court 60 times. 60 times he's been in court because of the past election. And you can see what is happening. And America is basically one language, one people, one religion. You might even say one family. And we're talking of a Nigeria with so much diversity. We are proud of Nigeria. Very proud to be a Nigerian. If Nigeria were, for example, in America, will America stand with all these ethnic groups? It won't. So people talk of divisions. Every election divides people, naturally. That's why you have election, petition. That's why you have another election in 4 years, and so on and so forth. So there's nothing strange about that.
All right. So apart from fully implementing the federal character principle, what other steps can be taken to unite our fractured nation?
The greatest means of uniting us is to empower us economically. Poverty, for example, knows no ethnicity. Poverty knows no religion. The same thing with wealth. Anybody who has ability to pay for medical health, to eat, to do all of that, does not begin to think of divisions. So the best way to unite Nigeria is to provide for the peoples of Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is a unique nation. This is a nation unique in the sense that there is no nation in the world where the various ethnic groups are providentially, permanently, by design of providence, located in different geographical zones. That's why I said that, look, the Constitution of Nigeria is not a constitution. It's a military document imposed on the people. If we want to have a constitution, a nation with so many nationalities, look, sit around the table. And what I think it was Leopold Senghor spoke about universal banquet, in which people agree on the terms of their unity. They are a united nation. That's what we should agree upon, but we haven't agreed upon that. It is not a government that gives a nation a constitution. It's a constitution that gives a nation a government. But in our case, it was a military government that forced a constitution on us. And it is not the content of a constitution that validates it. It is the procedure of making a constitution. So at a point, as part of building our unity, we will have to take a look at the structure of the nation. I'm not talking about restructuring. People talk about restructuring. But how do you restructure a nation that does not have an adequate structure? The adequate structure is the agreement by the peoples of Nigeria on the type of government they want for the peoples of Nigeria.
All right. So, Dr. Abayomi, the verdict of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal is being awaited. Do you see the legal battle leading to a rerun?
No. There's no case. No, there's no case. There are 3 principal issues that were raised by the opposition. Let me take them briefly to tell you that any elementary legal mind will understand that it's an exercise in futility. First, you say Tinubu wasn't qualified. You hang your case on certain forfeiture. Well, the Constitution talks of conviction largely as disqualification. You cannot talk of conviction without a charge, a plea, and a trial. All forfeitures, all criminal forfeitures follow conviction. All criminal forfeitures universally. So, for example, a drug baron can pay me money for my services as a lawyer, drug money for my services as a lawyer. And the law will go after that money because it's bad money. But I'm not a bad person because I wasn't involved in his business. So, separate bad money from good people. You can still attach that bad money. Now, when I'm a bad person, you will charge me to court. I will take a plea. I will be tried, and I will be convicted, and then forfeiture will follow. I'm an American trained lawyer. I know that. That's number one. The second point is that you are talking of that one quarter of 2/3 of the states and the Federal Capital Territory. The Constitution has resolved that. I was a lawyer in the case of 1983 case of Waziri Ibrahim against Shagari. That issue had been resolved. Very simple. You treat Abuja as a state. And so you don't treat Abuja more than any state. But a lot of people confuse the issue. They talk of Federal Capital Territory. Federal Capital Territory is a mere nomenclature, like Ondo, like Zamfara, and so on and so forth. The focus is not on Federal Capital Territory. The focus is on the voters. Now, people forget something, that federal government has no voters. Only states and local governments have voters. That's why the Constitution turns Federal Capital Territory to a state so that it can account for the votes in the Federal Capital Territory. And you cannot have a voter in Nigeria cannot have more value. No voter can have more value than another voter in Nigeria. Like I told my colleagues, some of my colleagues who are promoting this crazy doctrine, and I said, look, if you have 5 people in the palace of a king, 3 men and 2 women, and you say 2 men must bow to the king and a woman, what is the implication? Naturally, 2 men and a woman, but you say a woman because a woman is not a man. You cannot treat unequals equally, even for the purpose, but for the purposes of the end you want to seek, the Constitution has already resolved that. Treat Abuja like a state, not more than a state or less than a state. So whatever happens in Zamfara or Ondo State or in Cross River State is applicable. Now, with regard to the third one, that there is a corrupt practices and so on and so on, that's no, it's a non sequitur, because the law is that if you want to prove that the election should be invalidated in this case, you must show substantial non-compliance with the law. The court, substantial non-compliance. You have the burden of showing substantial. That's what the cases have established. That's why the lawyer for Tinubu spoke of fiction. He said, what they put before the court is mere fiction without any proof. And I share his position.
So, Doctor, at the period before the inauguration of elected public officers on May 29 saw a lot of frivolous matters filed by lawyers. Do you agree with those who demand that severe punishment should be visited on erring lawyers to stop this trend?
Yes, the courts have started to do that. Many lawyers have been personally held responsible for the silly cases they filed in the Supreme Court. I think one was ordered to pay 2 million, even senior lawyers. I believe frivolous cases should be penalized. The court is too serious in a democracy to be preoccupied with metalegal factors.
All right. So also related to this, one of the justices of the Supreme Court, Okoro, in a recent judgment, accuses some people of using the social media to intimidate judges. How did we get here?
Because I'm sorry, a lot of social media warriors are a little very presumptuous, and say anything, demean people, talk anyhow. The problem is that a lot of our social media, they lack maturity. And they are not, the sense of responsibility. I mean, it's not sufficient. In other crimes, you don't talk anyhow about courts, knowing the significance of courts in a democracy. I mean, we say that that's the last hope of the common man. So if we mess up that last hope, then there will be no hope agenda.
All right. So let me quickly ask you this. Does public opinion really influence the opinion of courts in our country?
No. What influences the opinion of courts is the law. But law works wonders. Great wonders, because the triumph of law is to change the society. You can say what law has done in America, for example. I mean, the black man who was once enslaved in America became the president of America because of the power of the laws. That's why America says that our government may be a government of law and not of men. And that's where we should be in our country. I believe that we should take a good care of the courts so that we will defeat corruption in the system, because there's still some of it in the judicial system, although quite a number of judges try. But we need to ensure they are well taken care of. And I'm not focusing only on the senior courts now. I'm talking of even magistrate courts, local courts, and so on and so forth, all the way to the higher courts. Because how do we solve conflicts? So the judicial power of the federation invested in the courts of conflicts between, not only between citizens, but between institutions, between governments, between systems. You can see the burden that the courts carry. Why it's important to strengthen the courts so that they can do the job impartially.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. I've been speaking with Dr. Tunji Abayomi, a constitutional lawyer and political analyst, tonight to discuss President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and ministerial expectations. Thank you very much, Dr. Abayomi, for your contribution on the program today. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.